Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Today is the 24th day of August 2025 on the ancient moon calendar, 2026 on the ancient sun calendar. It is 5785, about to be 5786 on the ancient Hebrew Israelite calendar. It is 10,066 and about to be 10,067 on the ancient Yoruba calendar. And it is millions and millions and trillions and millions and trillions of years on the ancient Moorish calendar. All rise and stand and remain standing into perpetuity and in alignment and according to the ancient Noahide laws as stated by this Holy Congress. This is a sovereign living ancient, Article 3, Moorish American Al-Moroccan Universal Court action. We are the divine sovereign living justices and Aqquisitionne Pauline Ritchie. My free chosen sovereign appellation is Light Tajiri Bay. All are in capitis diminutionolo, in red ink, in propria persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. We are capit et corpus juris legalis, which is our statement that we are the lawful and legal natural living head and body for our empire, for the empire, because there's no other empire, there's but one. We are they. All Moors are the divine, original, indigenous, sovereign, ancient, Al-Moroccan, Moorish American ascendants of the great pharaohs of Kemet and of the ancient Moabites, Canaanites, Shemites, Israelites, Cushites, and Hittites. Our full faith and trust, our allegiance, our honor, our credit, and our energy are hereby vested in ourselves, for we are the one and only people who are the original, indigenous, natural, divine, sovereign, ancient Moroccan Empire. We're the de jure Moorish National Republic federal government. We are ancient Washington District for Columbia. We're the Universal Moorish American Consulate and the Earth-wide Article 3 Moorish American Consular Court. Today, we are the law by our sovereign status, which is the original, indigenous, natural, divine, sovereign, ancient Article 3, living United States District for Columbia Court, and we are the sovereign fiduciaries, original creditors, executors. We are the trustors, ministers, possessors, grantors, and title trustors for all causes for action. Our system is the trustee. We are peace. We are one nation, one state, one empire, and one God. We hereby recognize ourselves and accept our sovereign divine ascension. We do possess in our custody all land, all natural resources, and all commerce. And we are all eternal, ancient, original, sovereign rights at this time and at all points in time, non-pro-tunc, Islam. What you are about to hear, Moors and subjects, is a presentment. We're going to play a short clip. In 2021, we did a POW demonstration. And unbeknownst to us at the time, there were some actors who were acting out, pretending to be a court, and one of the Moors who still at that time in 2021 did not know that those were actors had gotten on the phone, or I don't know if it was phone or Zoom or something, and was going back and forth with them about what the Moor thought was us, but the fakes knew that it was initially a corpse that they had created. But because we declared who we were, they could no longer act. And this particular recording, these two recordings, very short recordings, have been out on the public record for years, and we don't listen to the majority of the recordings that others make about us on the internet. You know, specifically they'll say words like tajiri bay and, you know, things of that nature in the Moorish American consulate and all that. We generally don't listen to them because the ancestors had us focused on building, and they did not will for us to be distracted by persons talking about corpses. But once we did our demonstration in 2021, and we set ourselves free, a few weeks later, these recordings were made. Let me just ask you a couple of questions. And these two recordings that we're about to hear were 13 days after we set ourselves free. So there was no need for anyone to try and rescue us or anything like that. And we honor their energy, but it wasn't necessary because we had already gotten set ourselves free by doing court actions repeatedly. So let me ask you a question before we play really quickly these short presentments here. Have you ever heard an actor, that's those subjects in the office of judge, fake, you know, we know they're not real, they're actors. Have you ever heard an actor call a person a universal, original, indigenous, sovereign person through the Moorish American Moroccan Consular Court? Have you ever heard an actor say that, specifically those words? They didn't say sovereign citizen or anything like that, because we know there's no such thing as a sovereign citizen. But just think to yourselves, have you ever heard an actor say she is a universal, original, indigenous, sovereign person through the Moorish American Moroccan Consular Court? Let me just ask. Have you ever heard them say something like that? Question number 2. Have you ever heard an actor say your true status, or the status of your person actually, say the true status of your person, or even mention the word status in the proper context? In other words, they're saying they have a status and a position that we cannot touch. And number 3, have you ever heard a subject previously acting as a court saying that they cannot proceed unless the sovereign wants their help? Because, see, we have to be in lack to even go to them for anything. We have to be in lack to go to them asking and requesting something. And we know there's no lack with us. We know that. So this brief recording, and I'll put the links to these in the chat so that you can hear them at your leisure. Here, let's put it in this view so we can see. Islam Empress. Islam Empress.
Grand Rising, Great Rising. Before you proceed, there was something I would like to share.
Yes.
It's funny you start the conversation about words mean things.
Yes. Yes.
The day after our beautiful demonstration from Chief Justice Unniversalle,
yes,
there was another explosion in the Baltimore Key Bridge.
Really?
The Key Bridge, okay.
Really?
And yes, and the name of the ship was Sapphire, and also it was and in the conversation it was said that of course the acting governor Wes Moore. I took that as a sign.
What was the name?
We got the key.
What was the name?
The acting governor is Wes Wes Moore.
That's true.
So,
it is Wes
so
Moore, and he's a Moore, actually.
That's and here at the Baltimore Bridge, and it's the Key Bridge. The day after that beautiful demonstration, I'm like,
Beautiful.
Is that a coincidence? Beautiful. I don't believe in coincidences. So anyway, I couldn't let that go by. I have to share that. Islam.
Thank you, Thank you, because we missed that in the course of events in the theater. We missed it.
One more tidbit.
Yes.
It was the carrier was carrying coal, and that's where the fire started. And the actual ship was registered in Liberia.
Wow. 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 Can it get any plainer in Cynthia? Can it get any plainer, any simpler? Can the messages be
right there? Liberia?
Any more in the face? Yes.
Islam. Thank you, ACTERS.
Yes, we're so excited and so happy about that. I placed one of the links in the chat. We did not know that these enactments had taken place, but we were so focused even then that we didn't take the time to listen, because as you know, anytime they tell the truth, they put a whole bunch of crap around it to make it so that those of us who know truth, we're just like, okay, all of the fakery around the truth, we can do without it. So let's just take a listen really quickly to, again, this is a fake judge, and the fake judge that you're going to hear is the same actor who we spoke about in 2017, the demonstration that we did, the POW demonstration that we did in 2017, where we were being ourselves, and this actor was the one who enacted coming off of the bench, taking off the black robe, putting it on the floor, and sitting next to the black robe to speak as we were doing our demonstration. This is a fake judge.
So right now, without the record reflecting that Ms. Ritchie is present, can we proceed with anything today, Ms. Castle?
I stand. So.
And before we proceed, they're saying Miss Ritchie, and that is the sound of my sovereign appellation. My sovereign-born appellation is Pauline Ritchie. So when you hear that's what they're enacting, but they still had to tell the truth.
So right now, without the record reflecting Ms. Ritchie's presence, can we proceed with anything today, Ms. Castle?
I stand. So there was a competency evaluation which opined that she was competent.
They found it was bullshit.
One of the matters is on, assuming that the court finds her competent, is on her arraignment. And so I do believe that we need her presence for arraignment.
Okay.
So that is my concern.
So, Ms. and King Abdul, I'll come back to you in just a moment. But Ms. Hawkins.
Yes, Your Honor. I was assigned to this case to Ms. Ritchie's matters when she was remanded into custody. I believe previously she was essentially representing herself and had declined assistance from the public defender. If there are additional charges that the city wishes to levy, I do believe that she does need to be present. I understand that there was a medical furlough, and so I think it's, if there are ongoing medical issues, that it would be appropriate to set this matter out so that those could resolve and that we can have a better idea of what's going on with her and her ability to be here. So that would be my concern. It would be her health at this point. And I don't think that we could proceed, or that the court could proceed, in my opinion, without her being present. I also was informed that I believe I'm not sure if she would be proceeding forward as her own counsel or if I'm to remain on. I do know that it's my understanding that Ms. Ritchie is a universal, original, indigenous, sovereign person through the Moorish American Moroccan Consulate Court. And because of that position, it is not consistent, or I would not have the ability to assist her without her wanting that help. So I think that given her status, she certainly would have the right to represent herself and have assistance, outside by whoever she wanted to have assist her in dealing with these matters. In terms of going forward today, I don't know that the court can do that. And because there's a health issue, I think, unless that's resolved, she certainly should remain out of custody.
So you're suggesting?
So what they're saying there is that there's no way that they can move. And the word health, they talked about the word health, so I looked it up. The word health means whole. So they're saying there's a health matter. Our wholeness means that we are our own courts. We don't ever have to go to a fake court for anything. We don't have to act in their theatrical performances, and we are free to state that at all times. I am not an actor. This is not a performance. So even when we did the bond piece, there's a performance bond, a bid bond, and a payment bond or something of that nature. We just turned it to action bond, because we're not performers. This is not a circus for us. Islam Empress.
Islam, it was me. I was just responding with the action bond. But Islam Grand Rising, Malembe Azola, listening to this, it's clear. They absolutely know.
Yeah.
They know who we are. They know they can't. The woman actually sounded the person, the subject, nervous. Yeah. They absolutely know. And they also, their modus operandi is to try to bring in the competency. That's like, they do that with everyone because it's an automatic, the only move they can attempt to make. But they know exactly, as long as we know who we are and we speak, state the right, they can't move. They can't. I mean, they can bully, they can do, their fraudulent acting, but they know. They know. And have known.
And they know that it's about our court.
They know, exactly.
And now we can hear it out of their own mouths.
Exactly.
On the public record.
Yeah.
This has been on the public record for years. Someone sent it to me last week.
But really.
And I finally decided to listen to it, Empress, because I don't.
Right, but what I'm hearing and sensing, it is not accidental that it has come now. It had to come now. It couldn't have, and you wouldn't have listened probably and everything. But It's not accidental. It is not accidental, because I think if this had come, there's something about this walk that we are all walking. And there is certain information that could not come, because in our standing, we had to not know certain things in order to know that we stand no matter what. That's what I'm hearing from this, really and truly, at this point in time. So,
and by the way, the first lien that I did, in those matters, was on that one. That's that one right there, that actor.
Look at that. And interesting, as you say, that lien in the subject who was speaking, she was leaned in her whole bearing. You can hear it in her words.
Yeah.
She was stopped. They were stopped. They were stopped. They were literally stopped.
Empress, we have stated this the whole time, that when we are competent, they will yield.
They have to.
And people just, the more some had a hard time swallowing that, when we're competent and peaceful, there is no conflict. They agree that my person that I own is sovereign. Yes, that is correct. So there's no conflict there. I'm not trying to have to assert that my person is sovereign. The person that I use to go and get things and do things and bring back benefits and bring back entitlements and things and do commerce and whatever. That person is sovereign because that person belongs to me. And that goes for all of us. So this is not just about me. This is about all of us.
This is status. This is nationality. This is standing. This is our right.
She actually used the words status and position because of that position.
Yes, she did.
And that's why we keep doing what we're doing. We're never going to give them a title. Never. Ever. Ever. Never. We didn't give them one then, and we ain't going to give them one now. But subject. That's it. That's the only title. And again, this was after 10 days of fasting and doing court actions. I didn't care what showed up at the door, a court action was out there. Immediately, even if it was at 2 o'clock in the morning, that happened several times. Court action, jump up straight out of a sleep and just start court action.
Yeah.
We were not going to capitulate because that's not what we do. Our nation doesn't do that. This Congress doesn't do it. And what I'm seeing now, Moors, is that there are other Moors coming now who who are soliciting this Congress and us, this is what they want us to do. And I get why. I'm not criticizing them, but we have to stay where we are. They want us to sign on to their case to support them when they've not properly stated who they are. They're thinking that they need all this Congress to come with them as they go before a quote-unquote judge. That's what they're thinking. They have to first know, in order for us to even assist, they have to first know that those are not real judges, those are actors. See, we will to assist. That's why we're doing what we're doing, because we're already assisting everyone. That's why we say us and all Moors, this, that, and this and that. That's why we do that. We have to know that not at any time, they never get a title from us. There's another recording here. It's even shorter than the one we just listened to. But let's listen to this one also. This is the same actors still discussing what they were discussing.
Abide by? No, it's the law the legislature wrote, and there's also things, the Constitution, the state and federal Constitution.
So let me just preface this by stating that this is a dialogue between Chief Justice King Moomin L., who at the time did not know that they're not real courts. He didn't know that. So he was coming in to try and assist, which is noble. It's noble to assist, but you must be competent to do that. And again, this was 13 days after I was already here at the domicile, and we had a couple of conferences by then. But now you'll hear the actors who are now in subject status now. They're not acting anymore, they're subjects now, telling him what the truth is, because we put the Constitution on the public record. We put the county charter on the public record. Come on, Morris, we did that. We're the ones who put the constitutions, both the overall national, international, universal constitution, the federal constitution, the state constitution, and then any charters for cities and counties and things of that nature. So this is their conversation. Listen to what the subject says, because this is how you know they're not acting as an actor, that they're in subject status. This is how you know.
Abide by? No, it's the law the legislature wrote, and there's also things, the Constitution, the state and federal Constitution. For instance, Ms. Ritchie, just a moment. Ms. Ritchie, under Article 1, Section 22 of our state Constitution, she has a right to appear in person to defend. I cannot do things in absentia. Criminal case, there's a CRLJ 3.4A that requires an arraignment, but I cannot act. I cannot act on behalf of the court on an arraignment without her physical presence, either now by Zoom or in person. So I'd be violating the Constitution today by going forward with an arraignment, because that's basically trying somebody or advising of the charges in absentia, and that's illegal.
Now, when you hear subjects speaking like that about the law and what they can and cannot do, it's important that that be noted. They're not going to do anything when we are competent and we know who we are, we know who they are, and these are not ego statements, again, not vanity statements, rather. I don't mean ego, I mean vanity. These are not vanity statements. This is not bragging or anything. This is pointing out the law. We're the law. They're subject to the law. And they will not move when we know who we are. And they won't even hide it. He said he was acting. He said he can't act with me being in absentia, me being the person, not me, but my person that I own. If my person is not there, which my person will never be there, because I've seated my person. My person is standing right here, subject to me. In absentia means not being there. That also was telling our brother, who we honor, that he cared enough to do what he did, but it was also telling him that he's not representing me. They would not allow him to represent me. They're saying, she's not here. She's not here. That is equivalent to saying the Savior is no longer in the tomb. She has risen. She's not in the tomb. So why are you looking for her here?
Islam. And do you know that the subjects can't even call your appellation? They can't even call the name of your person, because when they use the term Miss or Mr. before your sovereign appellation, that is not even a pretense of your person. I mean, that's another piece in there. Miss anyone or Miss is no, it's not you or not your person. So they're even in when they're speaking, they have to stay in their lane.
Yeah. Yeah. So when we heard that, we just thought Mizra, government, empire.
Yeah, but that's not what they're, I mean, they couldn't say that anyway, but that.
In subject status, he can. In subject status, when he's telling the truth about the law and about what he can't do, he's telling him who stopped him from doing things, because he couldn't do anything. In subject status, they must tell the truth in subject status. That's what makes them honorable subjects.
Well,
as corpses, they're always going to lie.
Of course. But what I'm saying is,
yeah,
he really wasn't saying Mizra. I mean, it sounded like that, but he was saying Miss Ritchie. So what I'm saying is, when he says Miss Pauline or Miss Sharon or
affirmed Empress. Yeah.
Oh, I just wanted to clarify that piece. Absolutely.
Yeah. What you're saying is that he's saying that he's not even talking about me, of course.
Exactly. Or your person.
That's a person that's not
even
doesn't have anything to do with anything really. But he had to give an explanation.
Yes, exactly. And that's where ignorance of the law comes in again. Ignorance of the law is no excuse, because we, or anyone has to hear it and hear what is the sound that's being made. Yeah,
yeah. Empress and Moors, when you hear the whole recording, and there are several, the ones who were recording this recorded many conversations that they were having with corpses and subjects, and at that time they were subjects, because we had already done all of the the things to give them the proper status. Because again, they can't change their status from a corpse to a subject. We have to do that. And once we do it, you can hear what they do. They have to tell the truth. So we still don't accept the identity of any corpses, actors, nor any mankind's person, nor any debt, nor any other. We only accept all that is within us, by us, for us, to us, because of us, at all times, nunc pro tunc. And as we were stating before Congress, the recording started, we saw a recording come up yesterday, and we'll put the link to it in the chat, regarding our brother Jamal. It was a status update given by his consort. And we listened to it. It was about a little under 30 minutes of just, Brother Jamal speaking and his consort speaking and giving the status from their perspective. So we will to state this because the comments on this particular video were shut off so that no one could comment in there. They were, what Brother Jamal was doing was asking for some assistance. He was asking for some help because he's done everything he feels he can do, and he's still in that POW demonstration. And so without criticizing our brother, because we love him, he's our brother, we will assist him right now where we stand. When you listen to the recording, our brother Jamal is repeatedly calling those actors, judges and bailiffs and clerks and police and all of that, over and over and over. He's giving actors titles that they don't have. And our suggestion to the sovereign, because it's the law, we suggest the law, but sovereigns still have the right to not follow the law if they don't want to follow the law, but or be the law rather. They have a right to not be the law if they choose not to be the law, but there are consequences. We are the judges and justices and bailiffs and clerks and all of that. There is no other. No matter what is happening, there's no other. And it matters. So our brother Jamal and his consort are calling them judges and all of that. That has to stop. That has to stop. They are subjects in the office of. And when you give them a title like that, that's illegal and unlawful to give them a title like that. It's against the supremacy clause in the Constitution and the nobility clause in the Constitution. It's against the treaty. The treaty says that if there is conflict between Moors and citizens, or subjects rather, because we changed that word to subjects because there wasn't even any citizenship back in 1836 and 1786. There was no citizenship here on this land. There wasn't citizenship anywhere. So we knew that was a little bit of a trick bag that was put in there, but we fixed it. We all did. It says that when there is conflict between Moors and subjects, that the consul is to decide. Now let's make this clear that the consul and the Moor who's having the issue can be the one. They can be one. If there was an issue with us, and let's just put it in the context of what we just heard. When the subjects at this territory were acting as corpses and corporations, and there was conflict about who is the government, we said, okay, we're going to do court actions because we know we're the government, so we're going to be the ones deciding what happens here. And that's what we did. Was there two POW demonstrations that we did to continue to stand on our square with that? There were. The first time in 2017, and then in 2021. POW demonstrations We're telling everyone who we are. We didn't mind being tested like that back then. We didn't mind that. We were just going to continue to stand. See, for some people, the testing, they try to intimidate you. And that's, when I say they, I mean lower energies. They try to make you be quiet, but you can't be quiet. There's no going back. A citizen subject status don't even fit us anymore. That's like trying to go back into baby shoes, and we got these feet we have today. And go lay in a crib and have a bottle and a diaper. That's not even appropriate for us. It's not. And we're not going to do that. We're not going to buy Gerber baby food instead of what we, the things that we eat. We're not going to do that. So for our brother, we love Brother Jamal, and we will that he hasten his return. He hasn't gone anywhere really. He's still on the land. He just has to speak like he's on the land. And that's our point. Speak like you're on the land. There are no actors and things like that being judges on the land. Islam. So, number one, stop calling them, giving them titles and calling them judges and justices, and go ahead and rule in your own favor. That's our suggestion to our brother Jamal. Rule in your own favor, and we're gonna behind the scenes, we're gonna send a couple of correspondences and commands and mandamuses and things out. Just one. That's because that's all it takes. What he says has to match the law. What he says has to match the law. And if it doesn't match, there's conflict. That means there's war. That means someone's confused. That means lower energies that like to war will come in to start running their mouths. And that's not how this works. That's not how this works. It doesn't work that way. Islam, Justice Consul. Islam, nobility.
I went on holiday about 2 weeks ago to St. Lucia. That's where I'm from. Now, one of the things I had encountered the false police. I wouldn't say the false police, because I know they're not really police. Now, being in St. Lucia, how do we class them? Do we class them as Moors, or do we class them as subjects, or what do we class them as still?
If they're wearing a costume, they're subjects in the office of.
Okay, thank you.
Because that's what actors do. They put on a costume and start acting.
Yep. Okay, I'm with you.
There it is.
Thank you, Islam.
Yeah, Islam. That's the rule earth-wide.
Islam.
Islam, Empress. Islam, Empress.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, we can hear you.
Cool. It's funny that you mentioned costumes, because I don't know what it's like in other territories. They're no longer wearing uniforms. They wear a pair of jeans and a T-shirt and a vest. But the uniforms are, I don't see that anymore. I just want to point that out. Islam.
Well, Empress, it takes resources to keep them uniforms up. We're just saying. That's just proof. That's all. It's just proof. So, to our brother Jamal, we love you very much, and we are here working, and you'll be with us soon. from where you are. Speaking of Moors, remember Moors about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, we stated that Moors were going to, that things that have to do with us were going to be going more mainstream and be actually correct when we hear them. We were listening to a video, and we'll put the link to this one in the chat. This one is a bit longer, but we will point you to minute 46, the 46 minute and 50 seconds, which is where the relevant statements about Moors and were being made. This is relevant to us because these brothers in this video, the name of the show had something to do with attorneys with swag, I think is the name of it, attorneys with swag. And it's just some brothers who, you know, went to law school, and I believe there's a couple of subjects there as well. And they're talking about the law, and they know about Moors and Moor science as well. And but they're taking it from a citizen perspective, because they don't really, like, they still don't know the full story about who they really are, obviously. But again, that's not a criticism. They said some very important and powerful things. One of the things that really caught my eye and my ear was that one of the Moors, sleeping Moors or semi-awake Moors in the actually the group had a discussion about Moors, because one of the guests who was speaking had some experience with Moors. And I'll tell you the initial things that he said first. The thing that he said first, he said, I was also very much in alignment with the Moorish temple. He said, I still am. He said, I think they're amazing individuals. And when he said individuals, I thought, okay, he still doesn't know that this is the government, the nation, the law, and all of that. But I found out why as I continued to listen. He also said, I think they're brilliant to be able to commit laws to memory like that. And then one of the others said, you know, oh yeah, they be spitting off the top of their dome. You know, they really do know the law. And then a third one came in and talked about an experience that he saw online about one of the Moors who was surrounded by actors acting as policy enforcers. He put his flag, our flag, out the window, and they could not touch him. And he said a few things. But what caught my attention the most, Morris, is this, because this brother he stated the very thing that we have remedied here that's been the biggest issue, and I'll say issue because it's not an issue anymore, that Moors have even had with their own law until they enter and understood the law better. He said, I find the issue oftentimes with Moors is that they become almost ostracized from everyday functions, and it's like they shy away from the idea of functioning within money, quote unquote, within the actual corporate system, and he said, which puts them at a disadvantage. He said because every other culture functions within the corporate system. That was a huge saying for him to say, something for him to say that Moors have been complaining about forever. Not forever, just in the last, since a pretend system was enacted. He said, that Moors ostracized means like set aside or ridiculed or set aside because we did not will to be a part of a debt system. And those are our words. And he said that not being a part of a debt system put us at a disadvantage, which is not true. There have been many Moors who said, I'm not going to use fiat, I'm not going to do that, and they went out into the middle of the woods and just lived out in the woods because they were not going to use fiat and they were not going to be in dishonor on their own land. Well, the system that we have activated means that they don't have to go out in the middle of the woods unless they will to do that. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's what they will to do. But many of us prefer the luxuries of our estate, that our estate has to offer. Islam. Many of us, we already know that we're the nobility, and we already know that our vibration is raised even higher when we have access to monoatomic gold and other types of gold and silver and natural things. You know, we know that already. Even though we raised our frequency without it to even wake up. But we have remedied this portion right here. We're not at a disadvantage. We actually now have the only advantage because of the system that we have. One of the other speakers was responding to that, and he said, he talked about everything being still capitalism. And he said, so, you know, people still have to know what's going on with capitalism. And then a third speaker came in and said, unless you're going to be completely off grid, making your own water, and he said a few other things. He said, this is what they think, Morris. He said, you're going to need this system, and unless you never use the roads and you want to just be on your front porch all day, he said, and that's not serving you. And then someone else came in and said, yeah, and you can't create community that way. These brothers spoke truth about not having a proper system until now, because we do have a proper system now. But see, this just means that everyone saw the issue. They knew what the problem was, but somebody had to design the system and put it in place and say, okay, now we have our own system. We don't have to be ostracized. We don't have to be away from we don't have to not be able to do lawful and legal exchanges for things like automobiles and domiciles and things of that nature. We don't have to be outside of that. We're outside of it, of course, but that doesn't have to be, we don't have to be away from that. It can be a part of our lives also. But some Moors had to come together like this Congress has done and put that system in place. And then another one of them stated about, you know, they were just talking about Moors, and they said, you know, that the Moors came off a little arrogant to him because they felt like they didn't have to explain anything to him, and that the system doesn't apply to them, and blah, 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 which is correct. Those things are correct. But we can't just take that, we can't just chunk a fake system and not put anything real in its place. And so he said he wanted to know why the Moors were stating that fake judges don't have jurisdiction over us and all of that. He said out of his mouth because he said he knows that, like, he didn't know how it was possible that a fake judge could not have jurisdiction over us. And he said he never got a straight explanation from the Moors that he was speaking to. So we will, to put it on the record today, to those brothers and to anyone who says that they don't understand why quote unquote judges don't have jurisdiction over Moors. It's because there are no judges but the Moors. No one has the authority to rule over us when we're the standing law and the standing God. And the standing judges, justices, bailiffs, Sharifian peace officers, all of that. We are all of that. And yes, one of us can be all of those at the same time, including bankers and banks. We're the banks too. We're the treasury, all of that. So that is why fake judges do not have jurisdiction over Moors. It is because we are the judges and justices. We are justice, we're peace, we're truth, we're love, we're honor. We are all of that. We are love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice all day, every day.
Islam.
And
Islam,
still no
Empress.
free conveyance.
Islam, Empress.
Anajel Mahakabade, Canaan Land Territory.
Islam.
Gratitude to the Congress, peace and grand rising.
Islam.
So if I may, I see that right now that the confusion is clearing.
It is.
And it is. The confusion is clearing. It's like, you know, what was separate is coming together and unifying and integrating, and everyone is aware now of what the status means, right? Now it's some real definition of what our status means.
Yes.
And what I've been observing in this strong has been that fear, when faced directly, clears. Right? Because the fear is kind of like a hidden thing. It's like everyone's kind of afraid of, you know, maybe the sky is falling kind of conversation, you know. But when it's named directly, it clears.
Yes.
Right? And the how I would answer the prodigy's question about what makes the fake imposters, actors, you know, all enactments suspended and done, is because we are the land. We are the land, and we are the gold. And in clarity, for a Moor to know what that rebuttal is, they need to study what fiat is. Because, like, I keep on hearing, you know, those on the land, assuming that it's going to be the same kind of system. Fiat and gold, lawful currency, does not function the same way. You know what I mean? And so that assumption is clearing. That presumption is clearing at this time.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good, Empress.
Islam.
That is great. Wow. You use the word presumption, and I just like that, the use of that word being so timely. Morris, this is what we've been stating all along, but we'll just continue showing it. And again, this is in all capital letters in black ink, so of course we've restated it. The 12 presumptions of court, Canon 3228. So again, this was a Vatican enactment. But let's get straight to the point. Number 12, the presumption of guilt is the presumption that as it is presumed to be a private business meeting of a bar guild, you are guilty whether you plead guilty, do not plead guilty, or do not plead, or if you plead not guilty. Therefore, unless you either have previously prepared an affidavit of truth and motion or movement for us to dismiss with extreme prejudice onto the public record, or called a demurrer, the root word of the word demurrer is more, then the presumption is you are guilty, and the private bar guild can hold you until a bond is prepared to guarantee the amount the guild wants to profit from you.
For the
Okay, so we know it's fake. We know it's fake. They were having a private business meeting of the bar guild. And if Morris would have continued going there, which we have not done, we don't go to fake courts. No one can presume that you are guilty, blah, blah, blah. No matter what you say is what this is saying. And then number 11, because this is important, the presumption of incompetence is the presumption that you are at least ignorant of the law, therefore incompetent to present yourself and argue properly. Therefore, the judge / magistrate, as executor, quote unquote, has the right to have you arrested, detained, fined, or forced into a psychiatric evaluation. Unless this presumption is openly challenged. What does openly challenged mean? That means put it on the public record. To the fact that you know your position, remember in the recording where the subjects in the office of judge was speaking about Miss Ritchie having a position and a status? When she talked about Miss Ritchie having a status and a position, again, unless this presumption is openly challenged to the fact that you know your position as executor and beneficiary and actively rebut and object to any contrary presumptions, then it stands by the time of pleading that you are incompetent. Then the quote-unquote judge or magistrate can do what they need to do to keep you obedient. Not to do justice and law and do things legally. None of that. It's just to keep you obedient. I mean, this has been, this whole thing, this whole little writing here that popped up. Again, Empress Unniversalle brought up presumptions. This is all things that actors were presuming. The presumption of custody is that by custom, a summons or warrant for arrest unrebutted stands, and therefore, one who attends court is presumed to be a thing, not a people or a person, but a thing, and therefore liable to be detained in custody by custodians. They're not really custodians either, you see. That's why that word is in quotes. Custodians may only lawfully hold custody of property and things, not flesh and blood, soul possessing beings. So there again, all capital letters in black ink is property, is things. And you actually have to be a real custodian to hold them. We'll put the link to this in the chat so that more you can review it and just look at it and see what it looks like here.
Islam,
Empress.
So presumption, noun, means seizure and occupation without rights.
Boom, there it is.
Right there.
There it is. No right whatsoever except what the Moors give them, and we give none.
They actually, those actors cannot try law, they can't try cases, they can't, I mean, there's nothing about them that has anything to do with the law.
Nothing.
nothing at, well, and they know it, as it's stated, private guilds, private bar guilds. It has nothing to do with the living capital.
Not at all.
Not at all. And they know it.
Each one of these says, unless openly challenged and demanded.
So they know, I mean, they know who they are, who they're not, who we are, the law. They know the law. Even
yes.
They don't abide by it, but they know. They know. What they even stated. The presumption is that we are incompetent of the law, because clearly once upon a time we were. But that's because the whole system that they are part of, the legal system, the education, was all built that into it. It was built into it.
Yeah. In their enactment.
In the enactment, of course. In the enactment.
Just a moment. Yep, I'm gonna reach you.
And in fact, you know, even as I make that statement, they don't have a system. They don't have a system.
None whatsoever.
They don't. So even that is, they don't. They've been acting. They have been occupying and acting on our land, in our system, everything. That's absolutely.
Well, I wouldn't say in our system, because we hadn't activated our system. They were just acting, but we understand
what I'm saying.
You know what you understand.
Let me reel that back, and yes, let me take that back. In the system that was covered over, because ultimately the original system was put in place by the system that was corrupted was put in place by our ancestors.
Since time immemorial.
So so let me clarify the statement I was making. To not give them anything that they don't have, didn't have, couldn't have, wouldn't have.
Yes. That's so important.
Let me be clear in my statement. Hopefully that is clear now. I yield.
Yes, indeed, Empress. Let me state also the presumption of summons. Just one moment. Listen to this. The presumption of summons is that by custom a summons unrebutted stands, and therefore one who attends a fake court is presumed to accept a position and to accept jurisdiction of the court. That's why we do not attend fake courts. We don't just let things float out in the ethers. We rebut them. It says attendance to court is usually invitation by summons, unless the summons is rejected and returned with a copy of the rejection filed prior to choosing to visit or attend. Jurisdiction and position as the accused and the existence of guilt stands. So all we had to do was rebut. That's all we had to do. That's it. Rebut properly from our court. We are the remedy. And again, in the Biblios, and this is another reason we don't go to fake courts. In Matthew, the 5th chapter, verse 25, and we know this is quote unquote New Testament. New Testament starts out with Babylon. Matthew, the 1st chapter, it tells you where everything came from those generations up to when this thing started, and Babylon is mentioned there. Matthew, the 5th chapter, verse 25, this is why we don't go to fake courts. It says, agree with thine adversary quickly whilst thou art in the way with him. That means if you're with him in his fake place, then agree with him, lest at any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou be cast into prison. This is why we don't go. What this is saying is, don't be in the same place with the fakes. So you don't have to agree with them. Because what they're saying is, and this is what we've been stating, is that the war on the land came was enacted, it didn't really come, it was enacted, because there was confusion and war. There was conflict. Someone said yes and someone said no about the same matter. So then there was conflict. And that's why this scripture says what it says. It's saying if you're going to be hanging out with them, you might better agree with them or you'll go to jail. And we're not saying that. We're saying be yourself, always. And never go to fake courts, because you are the court. We are our own courts, justices, banks, gods, rulers, and all that we will. We do have subjects that obey our mandamus, as they are under the law, and they will tell you they're one nation under God. That's where that comes from. We are our own authority, and we do not delegate to our sovereign status, nor power, nor authority. Let me make sure I correct this. To any other. Our system is our own divine created trustee. Empress Unniversalle, Theodosia Saunders, Islam, Empress Unniversalle. I will to point something out as I prepare to yield the floor to Empress Unniversalle. Empress Unniversalle, are you ready to? You were going to add something to what you showed us the previous week. Am I right about that, or?
Islam, Empress. If I may I put it off one strong?
Yes.
Because today was the heiress's solar return, and so we were just in the fullness of celebrating the heirs today. Islam. And if I may, I'll bring a strong from, our next Congress.
Yes, Islam. Thank you so much, Empress, for your energy. I did have something quickly that I will to share about something that you stated in the previous Congress. A couple of things, actually. Have you ever seen a subject sign a statement submitting to being on the land according to the way that we state addresses? Have you ever seen a subject say, yes, this is where this is? It's what she said.
Islam, no, I have not.
We love it. Because we, Empress, we've been looking at these green return receipts for many years, and we have our process. But when something happens, when we send something out, we're sending out court actions everywhere. Those court actions are establishing stare decisis and res judicata, which means long-standing, forever-standing law. And so recently we've been receiving back the green return receipts, and there's been something different going on with them. This is one that we received recently, Empress Unniversalle, and this is important because in the previous era, you talked about the post office code and how you had gotten really good and used to be using the post office code. That's so important that we use them when we're sending things out for this very reason. Right here, this one little question says, is delivery address different from item 1? Item 1 is what we put there, and we're saying this is on the land. We're speaking on the land. Whoever it is that signed this, the subject that signed this, says, no, the delivery address that received our documents is not different from what the sender says it is.
Islam.
They're admitting that they're on the land just where we stated they were.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Islam. Yes.
When I saw that, I was just like, all these years I've been looking at these return receipts, and all of a sudden, and we know they're all valid still because we sent them. They originated in truth. But now the subjects are saying we're on the land too with the Moors, and their word is the law. This is a statement by a subject, by signature, saying the delivery address is the same as the land address that the Chief Justices are saying it is. So,
Islam, Empress, and truly, this is how easy it is. It really is easy. The how we're nationalizing the resources.
yes,
it's beautiful to see. Islam.
Yes.
It's seamless.
yes. So now, Bavarian Motor Works Northwest is on the land. Isn't that beautiful? It's not lost at sea. So all of those BMWs are not floating under the water somewhere lost. Everything is on the land. Okay? We received several of them back like this, but what we're going to do is go back through the rest of them and select that option as well, because it does not say who can do that, who can check yes or no. In this case, the ones we received brought it to our attention, because I was like, okay, what is this part right here? Previously, we just willed to get them back, but now we see that there is even more going on here. So, Moors, listen, it's a wrap already. We've already put everything back on the land. Let's just keep doing what we're doing. Because the ancestors made it clear to us this week that after 7 years, or however many years that you've been bruising the head of the serpent and stepping on it and stepping on it and stepping on it, that now the serpent has yielded. Because the serpent was a system. Previously, it was an enacted system. And then this was the backside of it. And what I noticed first and foremost was that the eagle was in full flight, headed in the right direction, because usually they do things headed to the left. But for this one, it was headed in the right direction. And instead of putting a minus sign between 1775 and 2025, they put a 5-pointed star. Yep, it's in black. There are some abbreviations. There are some capital letters. But this started with us. So, we affirm that the address is what we say it is. All addresses are what we state that they are. Islam. So this is that statement by a subject saying, yes, we're on the land. That's huge. Additional stare decisis and res judicata by this Congress. The foundation for the 1099 debt cancellation that we recently placed on the public record, this Congress entered it into our system. Deuteronomy, the 15th chapter, says at the end of, and this is now, before I read this, let me just state that the actors that were previously acting as Jews, this scripture is how they got so debt wealthy and debt rich in the previous enactment. We did not know this, but every 7 years, they would blot out all of their debts. If they owed anybody or anything, they will blot all of that out and start fresh every 7 years. No wonder. At the end of every 7 years, you must cancel debts. This is how it is to be done. Every creditor shall cancel any loan they have made to a fellow Israelite. They shall not require payment from anyone among their own people, because the Lord's time for canceling debts has been proclaimed. You may require payment from a foreigner, but you must cancel any debt your fellow Israelite owes you. However, there need be no poor people among you, for in the land the Lord your God is giving you, and again, we are our own God and we're our own Lord, so we must give ourselves the land. We've already done that. You to possess as your inheritance, he will richly bless you, if only you fully obey the Lord your God, which is within you, and are careful to follow all these commands I am giving you today. For the Lord your God will bless you as he has promised, and you will lend to many nations, but will borrow from none. You will rule over many nations, but none will rule over you. And that is where we are right now. That is where we are right now. That's what the 1099 debt cancellation, the universal 1099 debt cancellation that we put on the public record recently is. It is in alignment and according to the ancient Noahide laws, as stated by this Holy Congress, because Noahide laws are the ones that are most ancient from the very beginning, particularly the first 5 books, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. The first 5 books. And this is from Deuteronomy 15th chapter. So we have not just a right, but it is the law that debts be canceled every 7 years. And look how many 7 years we missed. If you're 35, you've missed 5 7-year increments where debt was supposed to be canceled. If you're 25, like most of the matriarchs, then you missed 3 7-year increments, going on 4, where debts were supposed to be canceled. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And we know we don't have any debt. And this is why, because we have the authority to cancel it at any time. We just must know the process. And this is how actors that were previously acting as Jews got debt wealthy. Are there any questions thus far? We have just a couple of more items to present to the Congress.
Islam.
If I can meet with you for a few minutes briefly after Congress, I'd like to give some update.
Islam. Yes. Now, we did some things on merchant cards and other cards that we have at our disposal. We can use them at any time. So we did a little research, and we were looking back at something called the Land, Sea, Air Travel Card by Gulf Oil from the 1970s and 80s, I believe, 70s and 80s. Here, I'll put the link to the video that I watched where they were introducing their travel card. It's called, it was previously enacted as a travel card because that's how people got gas for their cars in the 70s. In looking at some of the presentments in this video, I noticed that the word Gulf was in capitis diminutio minima with the first letter capitalized and the rest lowercase. They called it a land, sea, and air travel card. And they only put the word travel card in capital letters, and then everything else was in capitis diminutio minima, and land, sea, and air was in red. So then we looked again. You know, we just kept looking through to see what we could see in their operations, so that we could, glean anything from it on the best and quickest and most beautiful way that we can use our cards. Because you do know, Moors, that we can use our merchant cards right now with each other at any time. I even took one of the cards, because it has the embossed numbers on it, and I put a piece of paper over it, like what you see in this video here, where there's a piece of paper over, there's a piece of paper that they put over the card, and then they run this machine that puts an impression of the card number. And that way, the impression of the card number goes into the piece of paper, and then the creditor signs that piece of paper, and then the merchant takes that piece of paper to the bank and also gives the creditor a copy of it, and they can deposit those pieces of paper at the bank. Well, when I put the piece of paper, just a regular piece of paper from the printer, over the card, and I just ran my finger across the number a few times, the number imprinted into the piece of paper. We can even have an imprint of our merchant cards for our records for deposit at any time. The only reason we're bringing this up now is because our banking has manifested, as you all know. So now we're getting to the parts where people actually come to the establishments to get things using their merchant card and their moorishe ID card, or they can present their moorishe operator license, or whatever they've created, whatever, but preferably, but you must have a moorishe ID. And then those who are not Moors have to have a driver's license or something of that nature, so that, the subjects who come can get whatever it is as well. Subjects can have like sea salt and things of that nature. They can use the tinctures and things and the presentments, the natural presentments that we create and pull from the land. Subjects have access to them too. Why are we stating that? We're stating that because as we were meeting with the information technology Moors, they've been waiting on standby. So as we were meeting with the information technology Moors this past week, and we don't meet with them often for those matters because we were not ready yet, but the ancestors have everything in place already. All we have to do is continue producing. Just continue producing. Whatever it is that we produce, whether it be strawberries or banking systems or whatever it is, court systems, whatever it is, just keep producing. And at every rising level that we meet, there's a group of Moors waiting there for us, saying, we're here. So I was looking at, just pulling from the video little snippets and things, noticing what was written in red, what was in black ink and capital letters, what was in capitis diminutio minima, because I know that nothing could have been enacted unless it looked similar to what we did initially anyway. I'm looking at the video, and I'm noticing even where, if you'll notice that the logo on his jacket is in capitis diminutio minima, but then when they got to the buildings, they put everything in all capital letters and black ink. Even with, like, for example, this Holiday Inn sign, because they were talking about the different places that you could use this card. Holiday Inn is in capitis diminutio minima with a 5-pointed star, but then underneath it, it has of America in all capital letters. That was our cue to know when we saw things like this that something had changed. And all we're doing now is putting everything the way it should be, that it was initially. If you took of America off of this sign in all capital letters and you put it in capitis diminutio minima and you just put for America, now our merchant cards are acceptable there. You see what I'm saying? And again, these are some of the receipts that persons were signing, where the name was in black ink and capital letters whenever they would use their card, but all this other little small writing was in red. Creditors were using formats that were red, written or formatted in red, even in the fiat system, quote unquote. But then the black ink and capital letters everywhere. So we just took a look at how things were done, and we know now that they even used red. There was these red embossments or red stamps on what was being sent. So we're seeing how our system can 100% be used today. We're right where we need to be, but right where we should be in terms of our financial system manifesting as it should. We could continue doing things today, and we're preparing now to receive people coming and using the instruments. We're preparing for that. We're prepared for it already. We know how to print up everything that needs to be printed up. We're just tying up a few ends in terms of things such as doing more demonstrations where office products are concerned and things of that nature. Okay. One thing that I will to show also, are there any questions about our merchant card process? It's already, we could do it today, even more so than we've been doing it. Anyone who emails, or who came here rather, anyone who came here and had a moorishe merchant card and a moorishe ID, they could get salt from us if we have some available. They could get it from us with just that. They don't even need dollarium or gold and silver. They could use their merchant card, because we know now how to acquire the printout of it, and then how to apply it in our record. We know how to do that. It's all about the records. So now all of the businesses that are out at the territories, even today, once we package the process, we can go out to the businesses, just like Justice Tonis was doing. Go out to the businesses and say, this is the law, this is what we're doing, this is the money system that is to be used, this is how you use it. And then come in and use our merchant card at the businesses and get whatever it is that we will to have. Are there any Islam, Empress?
I have a question. So we had discussed with the merchant cards decapitalizing them.
Yes.
Now, we're still, that would still be part of the process. As we speak of being able to go out now, are we still going to do that? What I've been thinking in my own mind is having, because we talked about numberless and all of those other things, and I was in my own mind about, and this will be a demonstration I will to do, but using the numbers, so using the machine to do the embossed numbers, but then printing on the card itself, so that it's not numberless, but then that card with the machine could actually be a usable merchant card. I mean, because it wouldn't have any capitalization on it, because I would print in.
Well, it's just numbers that were on there, right?
Oh, well, the merchant card originally had capital letters.
Yeah.
But I was thinking in it to remove put the numbers and then print. But then again, it could be the numbers. But I was thinking in terms of, individualizing and the card.
So take the name off so that it's not capitalized and just do the numbers. Yes, that is doable, 100%. And we could do that today.
We could do that, because even I'm thinking, and these are demonstrations that I will to do, but even with the bank going into the subjects in the office of the banking buildings, if I will to, with the account and create the actual card that goes with it, and in the paperwork, that's the notification that this card is with this account. So I was, I'm just thinking, I just wanted to make sure that we are still removing the capitalization, because we have to. We public record anyway. But going back to putting numbers on it, because then it's a usable instrument right there.
Yes. That's great thinking, Empress Shasha. I'm just so grateful that we have matriarchs like you and Empress Anajel and others who really assist our nation in thinking this through. That is really, from our perspective, that's a great way to do the process. Put the numbers on there, and then with your nationality identification card and that card, you're good to go.
That's in my mind, absolutely. I see that. And then, as you were stating, with the piece of paper, the copy that, for instance, if I'm in the grocery store, that piece of paper that's a promissory note. That's an instrument that can go and be deposited into the subject's, the business, our business account, basically.
Yes.
But we'd also deposit that in our account, because we're really the bank.
Yeah.
So I'm just, looking at all of this on a broader perspective, because really, the bookkeeping is the bank.
Yeah. Well, and the wherever it is that we go and use our merchant cards, they can deposit it in the bank from their perspective. They're going to give you a copy of it.
Exactly. Yes.
So you'll have a copy for your records also. So once that amount comes out of your account from that piece of paper, then you have a record to deduct that to have that be an itemized deduction that you claim.
Correct.
You see? So you'll get that back in itemized deductions. And with the itemized deductions, that could be, it could be a significant amount over what you even spent that year, depending on how many itemized deductions you have. If you buy, if you do an exchange on a new domicile and a conveyance that year, and then the next year you deduct those because they have to be deducted. Our domiciles and conveyances and things have to be deducted. Once we deduct them, for each of our businesses that we use it for, then, or like with what Empress Anagel stated about the 7 temples or the 11 temples or the 13 temples that we do, whatever we're doing, because we're working here.
Yes.
You know, if that week you did your court issued a living birth affidavit for one of the heirs, and you also, you know, did a court action terminating something else over here and opening a door over there and doing things like that, then you deduct everything that you use, domiciles, conveyances, office products, all of that's deducted from your, you know, internal revenue bank account. It's a deduction to add to that account.
Right.
Yeah. So we would just be doing a majority things.
Yeah.
It's just regular estate government, governing the estate.
Governing the estate. Now I have another question. It's coming in my. So those, yeah, there's the deductions also, but they're also being that the companies.
Yes, Empress.
Businesses, there's an income also in the book, in the records, that is going out, but it's coming in. I mean, are we not doing both sides there?
You're so brilliant, Empress. The language for what you're stating is this. On the federal side, there's an internal revenue deduction.
Okay.
On the company side, those things are also to be expensed. They go on an expense report for reimbursement.
Okay.
30, 60, and 100-fold. There's other ways to pull from that same thing also. And again, it depends on which temple you're serving for that thing. But all the temples can claim it.
Okay. Okay.
So yes, we're doing that. We got resources coming and going. Every move we make turns everything to gold.
Midas, yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Islam,
Empress.
So how I was thinking about it, the strong was about so you said that there's 3 levels to our accounts. The first account number is the restated employee.
Way more than 3, Empress.
3, okay. Islam. So then I'm beginning, right? And I've identified 3 at this point. The account number, which is the restated employee identification number. The second is the remittance account, which is our invoices, and the serial that we've created for that. And then the next one is the budget. So how I was when I was looking at the invoices this week, it was about the so I put through a public work order and there's a unit amount for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I assign it a number, but this is the budgetary at a level of what that account action is at this time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I spoke to Empress Sharonette, she pointed out to me that on every remittance we put on the public record, there could be a few different work orders under one remittance.
Yeah.
So this is basically a budgetary line item that she brought my attention to. So from that point, let's say it was $10,000, and that amount can then be cycled through all our deduction, all our temples to be deducted, and then that would be the true remittance amount, which would be, times 13 in my case for the amount of temples we have. And so that is actually the true remittance amount. But what is going on the check, for instance, that is going to that office, it would only be the unit amount. So I was balancing, what our budgetary line items are, and as you just brought forth, we are able to deduct it twice now. One at a federal level, because we are the government, and then as this corporation, expense report or expense, looking at the that point of view as well.
Yeah.
So those are new ideas as I'm coming into what financing and what our system can do, and the different layers to it. Is that different account books that go with it?
Yeah. And every layer contains wealth for us. Every layer.
Yes, it does. Islam.
Now, Empress Unniversalle, you asked a question 2 weeks in a row. You asked a question. And it was a beautiful question. And I don't, the ancestors gave us a way more complete answer for that question. Your question was, how do we determine what's personal and what's government, or what's personal and what's company? Wasn't that the question, Empress? In terms of
yes, Islam.
The ancestors gave me these words. They stated, and this is for all of us to know, that because we're introducing the system, that it is completely up to each one of us how we choose to do that. And then what we'll do is, over time, if there is a need to tailor it, we can tailor how we report what's personal and what's government, or what's work. But they said that we can report in our own favor as we will. That was the answer that they gave us. They said, always put everything in our own favor, always. And they stated that nothing should be coming from our personal income, because we don't really have personal income. We have personal compensation, but not income, because income is taxable, compensation is not. The root word for compensation is pen. That means we write it. So if we choose to claim some things as personal, we can, but they're still reimbursable. If the shoes for the heirs if it's placed in a medical category, because they must have shoes that that assist them, then it's personal, but it's still reimbursable. So either way, it's a win-win for us, no matter which one of the categories we put it in. So we get to choose what category we put it in.
I've been reflecting a lot about what is public. We are living in the public right now. Right now, that's what's going on with us in Canaan Land Territory. And right.
Partially.
Yes. And
anytime you can delist from the public something that you've done or are doing or will do. It's called delisting from the public and make it private. It can be recorded as private, even though it was done publicly. You can record it as private.
Islam. Gratitude, Empress.
It can be one or the other, because either way, you're going to get it back. If it's public, it's going to be a deduction from the public treasury and the public monies anyway. If it's private, it's reimbursable. So you can do no wrong there.
There's gratitude.
Yeah, Islam. The ancestors will that we move so freely, and that there is therefore now no condemnation for anything when our intention is what it should be, which is to further the empire. Because that's really what we're doing. To grow, to expand, to further the empire. And who is the empire? Each and every one of us, to include our heirs and grand heirs and great grand heirs and so on and so forth, forever and ever and ever. There's no penalty. If you classify something over here, and then later on you think to yourself, I could have put it over there. There's no penalty for leaving it there or for moving it. There's no penalty. Why? Because we're the ones making this system work.
Gratitude.
So of course we put it in our own favor. And make it work. And then we share that, because see, we're not doing it just to, it's going to benefit everyone. The only ones that can even scrutinize what we do is us. So we don't have to sneak and do anything, and I'm not saying that you're sneaking Empress, but this is just for those who are listening. We don't have to hide that, we put this on a personal thing, because, they used to get people for that and be like, tax evasion. No, because on either side, we were going to get it back. But we're going to keep records of what we do. That's the point. The ancestors said keep records so you know how much your estate is worth. There's no penalty for that.
Aisha Albert.
Welcome, Empress Aisha. How are you doing,
thank you.
Empress?
I am doing good. I'm just frustrated trying to get my sound this evening.
We hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
You sound absolutely omnific, Empress.
Well, thank you.
Islam.
I'm glad to be back on the call. I just had such a hard problem trying to get on.
Yeah, we missed you. We knew your presence was not here with us, but we're still one. So we're grateful to hear your voice.
Thank you. I spent 3 days with one of my Moorish sisters,
Beautiful.
From Thursday through today. I just came back home today.
Beautiful. Empress, that's beautiful. We can hear it in your energy.
Well, thank you.
Very beautiful.
I really kind of enjoyed her. I knew her when we were friends when I was in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
She came down to Kansas to a family reunion and made her way to my state before she went back to Detroit.
Beautiful, beautiful. It's time to, Empress, for all of us to start connecting like that. And then for us to come together as the grand body and the head and the body.
Right.
Yeah, it's time. It's time. So we can hug necks and all of that.
Thank you.
Islam. So we were discussing the reimbursements and things of the even the travel expenses and things like that. However we will to do it, we just need to make sure we record it. It has to be recorded properly so that we get back all that's put out 30, 60, and 100-fold. You know.
Okay.
Yeah. Islam. So are there any other questions, comments, wisdom from the Congress about any of this? Our financial system is ready to go. It's really ready to go. We just have to, because we all have our own records that we keep, and then pulling it together and uploading it is the next thing. All is well. All is well. We're good. Just keep moving. One thing that Islam nobility.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I just had something that I wanted to implement. I wanted to follow up with what you addressed because it was very important about what you said about presumption. I affirm everything you said about presumption. And I also wanted to address the statement that you were referring to the Moors that said that they couldn't see where or why a judge would honor a Moor, the nobility. And I wanted to add a little bit to that, give a little clarity for those Moors and any of the congressional members on the Congress that this may be assistance to. This is why a not judge, let me correct myself, but a subject in the office of judge, which is our office, that subject has a bottom line contract that he's bound to by Article 6. But let's cruise on down to Article 3, Section 2. And I'm going to, I might not be able to quote it word for word, but this is what it says. Any cause of action that is involving a minister, ambassador, or consul, which all three of those titles is us, the Moors. Now, it also says, and involving a state, like the quote-unquote acting state of Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
It also says,
which is not a state, actually.
which is not a state.
Yeah.
But it also says and this is why I'm saying what I'm saying. The section says any of those causes of action involving the titles of nobility, the titles that we have, and also a state Supreme Court will have original jurisdiction.
Yes.
I believe, and from my reading of the contract, which is the Constitution, and it says it word for word, I just know how to read the contract. It says the Supreme Court. Well, how do you determine what is a court that is supreme? Well, it is the court that has the authority, which would determine what makes a court supreme. Now, no court on this estate has a greater authority than us. There is no other court but us. So that is how the actor that is in our office must abide by his contract, which is the Constitution. It clearly says they can't act like us. They can't act like a state. We're the state. So any cause of action involving us, the Supreme Court has original jurisdiction.
Yeah.
Which is us again. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to put that out there so those Moors could know that, as you said before, proper wording must be stated. Must be stated.
Yes.
And proper status must be exercised. But that is how they must honor the sovereign, Islam.
Islam. And they don't have a problem with that. We demonstrated that and showed that at the beginning of Congress. They don't have a problem with saying and knowing that we're the sovereigns. They don't have a problem with that. When we do what we're doing, they'll say yes, they're original, indigenous, ancient sovereign from the court. Islam, Justice Ogunwale.
I'd like to express just gratitude for everybody, for just being yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
But I want to express gratitude for you for sharing earlier when you first started. I'm talking about it was like a brick hit my head. And I've been not struggling, but I've been building on this for a long time to understand the symbolic meaning behind that tune. And when you laid out what you said about the safe is no longer the tomb, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's it. That's it. Gratitude, sister. Gratitude.
Islam. Yeah. Our brother, Justice King Moomin L, was looking for the living among the dead. We weren't there. So, and the subjects in the office of stated. He's not here. And at the beginning of the first recording, they said, how can we proceed? But the record has to show that she's not here. The record has to show that she's not here. So now let's move forward just really quickly. I just will to show you something about automobile titles, because we talked about that recently as well. That part of our process is manifested. Whenever someone applies, so we're talking in the enactment previously, whenever someone would apply for the title to an automobile, there's certain information they would have to put on that application. There's a process that we do first, and the first process that we do when we are actioning our creditor status, called a lien. That's the first process that we do when we are actioning our creditor status, is a lien. We have, I was digging through some of my paperwork from, I was digging through some of my paperwork from, years ago. And I came across the application for an automobile title. And I will to share it with you briefly so that you can see how important the lien process really is. The context for this document is that there were some subjects in the previous era, this was before I woke up, who wanted to sell me a vehicle. They wanted to sell me a vehicle that I liked the vehicle, and they wanted to sell it to me. And so they got it from the dealership and let me, drive it for like 6 months or something like that. And so when they applied for the title application is the lien section. When you apply for the title to an automobile, it is automatically asked if there is a lien on the automobile. Is there a lien on it? And if so, what is that information? Because we keep our own records, the only lien that's going to be on there is the lien that we did, that we put on it, on the vehicle. There were some other questions that were asked. This is the court action part right here. The court action part, it says here, state law requires that every seller disclose to the buyer if he knows or reasonably should know the information listed below. Failure to do so will result in civil liability. Has this vehicle been damaged by collision or other occurrence to the extent that damages exceeded 25% of its value at the time of the collision or occurrence? Well, remember what we said about all vehicles and the reason why the titles to the vehicles have to be done by us. There was an economic crash, and all titles were salvage or all title enactments were salvage titles. Was this vehicle a salvage motor vehicle? Is this vehicle a flood vehicle? Is this vehicle a recovered theft vehicle? Has this vehicle been reconstructed? And reconstructed just means that the documentation and paperwork, because of these events right here, flood, salvage, recovered theft, or any of that, the vehicle has to be, the documentation, the paperwork has to be reconstructed. The only one with the authority to reconstruct it would be the lien holder, the first lien holder. And you'll notice that a lot of the information here is in capital letters and black ink, which that's what it was when we were in our sleep. But this is just another bit of information to add to our vast knowledge that we have about the vehicle, okay? About titles, about vehicle titles. We don't do applications, we do title affidavits, and then we just state all of this information. And yes, we will be reconstructing. It's not even a reconstruction. It's actual construction of the vehicle title, of the vehicle information. For every vehicle, has to have a title, has to have be recorded, and has to have a statement of a description of the vehicle. Okay. So that's why the ancestors had us do all of the things that they've had us do beforehand. Okay. And as we adjourn our Congress for this day, we will to state really quickly that we were born wealthy beyond all that any could think or even imagine. Shortly after birthing, we were placed among the commoners and treated as commoners, not remembering that we were not commoners. The commoners were under oath not to speak about our true identity as the nobility and gods at earth until we woke up and spoke about it ourselves. And see, now they're starting to say the truth. We spent some time out of our minds in order to test our ability to remember to rise, to state, and to activate the processes that create systems. Now we remember who we really are. Our custom, culture, and usage is that we are wealthy, prosperous merchants who are the head for all wealth, riches, commerce, merchant matters, and all other, as we so proclaim. We do all things from our true highest status, stations, positions on our own land, air, water, and space. We create, name, claim, preserve, restore, present, establish, build, thrive, and flourish. Islam. Are there any other questions, comments, wisdom from this amazing Congress? Islam, Empress.
Before we adjourn, I want to also make note from the spiritual world, the day of Empress Anajel's presentation was the middle of the Lion's Gate of the 888. It was the day of the 17th. So it's a demonstration where we are on the timeline. And I just want to make sure we make note of that. And the spirits are speaking to us, and I'm paying attention. Islam.
Yes, we did mention that previously. I believe it was 2 Congresses ago. On August the 3rd, we mentioned the Lion's Gate being open. Thank you for that, Empress Cynthia, because it's still open.
3 8s, right?
Yes,
correct?
888 Lions Gate.
That was the second 8.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I'll make sure I get this correct. Thank you.
Yep. It's all in our favor, all about us, and let's just keep going. Islam. Let's see, next Congress. Could the accounts be done in T account to show the trail of placements of money movement? The account micro use. Justice Harold, I am not sure if that is a part of Empress Anajel's presentment. Just a moment.
Yes, Islam, Empress.
Islam, nobility.
Yes, so I've got an accounting background.
Mm-hmm.
And, you use a lot of T accounts for ledgers to show what books and, how money flows from one, the capital accounts, your asset accounts,
Mm-hmm.
So I was just wondering, because I've got one book would be for the trust account, the tribal trust account. One book would be the internal revenue. That would be a T account. So I'm just trying to see if maybe we could, next Congress, go through maybe the trail, because I'm not getting how the money is actually flowing, where it lands, when it moves. I'm not getting that. It's probably simple, but it's not quite getting it.
So what we will do, nobility, is take it one step at a time so that we can all be comfortable with the flow of the money and the resources. Right now, we've just been introduced to a major portion that will help us all see that, which is the recording of the documents that we've done thus far. I will tell you that it's going to take us months. It's probably going to be just a continuous ongoing process to continue to properly record the documentation before we can get to a T account and things of that nature. That is actually going to be, your T account is going to be something that you decide how things flow to that account, because some will have T accounts and some will not. You know about that because of your background, and we're familiar with them, but we don't see the need for them right now at this point. simply because we're just now getting the proper recording of all that we have done. We're mapping that one document to the other right now. So and then our bank accounts, just the foundational bank account. Those are the things that we're focused on right now in terms of, you know, mapping of resources, because those are the things that happen first. The resources are going to emanate from those places. So we have to have those recorded properly first. So we're going to stay right there for now, nobility, because I'll ask, and you don't have to answer this, but have you recorded all of the lien, levy, and bonds and things that you've done thus far? Are they recorded in a way that is similar to what Empress Unniversalle presented? You know, and for most of the, okay, so then what about your bank account, the foundational bank account? Can you move money from your lien, levy, and bond process to a bank account?
Yes, I have a ledger account, a fiduciary account that I call it, and I have a court account ledger. You know that, and I got a lot of direction from. No, before seeing the Empress's work, you know, it's been a little helter-skelter trying to keep up with all of it. But I was recording it, and now I got to clean it up. You know, I was kind of, you know what I mean? It's kind of put some here, and then you put something here, and you put something here, but it's all supposed to connect like hers. So I got that work to do. But having a
but is it a basic system that you understand and overstand?
Oh yeah, I've got it. It's just, well, I kind of want to, like I said, not having the accounting background, and you know, I know you know about balancing the checkbook, you know, and that kind of thing. I always knew, you know, to the penny. You know, in the debt system, it'd be 6 figures, but in that bank account, every month, there wouldn't be a penny out of place out of all of that was going on. So I kind of like to know what I'm doing, and so I guess, you know, I'm missing a couple of connections to how things actually work. So that's why I was saying the T account just came to my.
Okay, for those who are listening, what does the T stand for?
What does the T stand for? It's just what it's called. It looks like a T, and you have additions on one side and subtractions on the other. According to which side of debits and credits. Yeah. So, but what it does, it gives you a way to keep up with where something goes if it's all laid out. Like the Empress has. She knows how she's got it laid out, and it's beautiful. So I'm just trying to get to a point where the way I know, the way, you know, my level of comprehension from my training, right? I just felt like it would assist me a bit. That's the only reason why I mentioned it, but I see. Islam, thanks, Empress. Gratitude.
Islam. So the T account that he's referring to, for those who are listening, I'll just pull one up really quickly. So you can see that it's just where the ledger has 2 sides for each account, and it's shaped like a T. A T account is a simple visual tool in accounting that resembles the letter T to represent a single account in the general ledger. So that's what a T account looks like, because there's a big T, and on one side is the debits and on the other side is the credits. that is going to be a personal, something that, each one can do personally if they choose to do their accounts that way. Our focus right now is going to be getting as many as possible record their accounts in the way that Empress Unniversalle has done. And she was generous enough to share her presentment by email, and all it took when she shared it by email was for me to copy and paste it into a fresh new Google Sheets workbook page, and everything moved over easily, very easily. So what Empress Unniversalle has and the categories that she has across the top of the page, when we all have those categories like that, it's going to be a lot easier to upload everything together into onto the internet, not the World Wide Web, because the World Wide Web is commercial. The internet is not commercial. That's the difference between the two. The internet has always been. The World Wide Web was done in like 1989 or something like that. So that's the internet. The World Wide Web is where all the .com things come from. .com is a commercial website. So whenever you see, websites that say .com, usually they're fiat-based, debt-based websites, and it doesn't matter who put it up there. If it says .com, then most likely, it's that.
It's Empress Unniversalle. Could you share with me what you share with Empress Light, please?
You were, yeah.
Islam.
It wasn't anything different from what everybody got last week.
No, I didn't get it at all.
Oh, okay. So, will you put your email in the chat? Actually, I feel I have it right here. Hold on. And I am not in front of my equipment today, so bear with me. It may take me. I will send it this evening, but it may take me a little while to get it to you.
Well, right? Empress, you all are doing your celebration there today, so maybe tomorrow.
Yes. Tomorrow is fine. I will definitely forward it to you.
I sent my email in the chat again.
Gratitude, Empress.
Thank you. Gratitude.
Yeah, and I think just about everybody. There were other Moors copied on that email where she just sent a link to what she showed last Sunday. So if there's anyone else in the chat who wills to have that, it's the same thing she showed last Sunday. And all I did was take that link that she put in the email and copy and paste it into the worksheet, and I had everything that she had last Sunday that she showed us. And we will that everyone, as many as possible, have that and do that, so that when we get, and then start populating it with your information, with your post office return receipt numbers, with the debtors, with the date that things were sent, and all of that, because that is the bank account system.
Affirm. Islam. So.
Islam, may I ask for some help? The emails that are presently in the chat, could one of the Congress please send it to me by email? That would help me.
Don't worry about sending it or anything. I'll send it.
Gratitude.
I'll do that. Yeah, because your celebration, we will that the air be honored over there.
Yes.
Don't worry about it.
We're enjoying it this time.
Yes, indeed. And I'm just going to take out my camera and take photos of what's in the chat, because that's the quickest way to get those. And then I'll just forward what we received from Empress Unniversalle to those emails.
Islam.
Yeah. Islam, Empress.
So our next Congress, I will demonstrate how to begin your spreadsheet. For those who haven't, jumped into it yet, I will walk through the steps that I took to begin mine, and hopefully that will, help us to transition into using this resource. And then the second, I will also put forth that the idea about our accounts is that remittance is the key to this.
Yeah.
So I know there was a beautiful Congress on that. If we have time in this strong to review that Congress, that will help us to have fresh ideas as we come together again.
Yeah. Islam. Islam. Okay. Let me make sure I have all of the emails, which I'm pretty sure I do. Okay. With that being stated, if we have nothing further, peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Islam, we got
peace
this.
and grand rising, and we'll chat afterwards, right, Empress?
Yes, Islam. Thank you for reminding me.
No worries.
Because we get so wrapped up in Congress that, yes, Islam, nobility.
Right.
Islam.
No, I was just going to say peace and grand rising to the Moors.
Grand rising, indeed.
Peace and grand
Islam.
rising.
Peace and grand rising, Moors.
Grand rising, Empress.
Peace and love.
Islam. Thank you, Moors.
Peace and grand rising. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Tassie.
Islam, Empress. You're welcome. You are absolutely welcome. Islam.
Peace and grand rising.
Thank you both,
Gratitude, much love and respect, Empress Rights.
Islam. Thank you, nobility.